I think that everybody was talking earlier in the draft cycle about Shedeur. Should he control where he's going? Is Deion going to control? And, if anybody's going to control where he's going to go, it's going to be the guy whose career hinges most on what the plan is for him. And to me, that's Travis Hunter. And I think that he should really play hardball with these teams and maybe not pull a Eli, John Elway and say, I'm not playing for you, but he should really be able to shape where he goes based on the plan a team lays out for him. I think that you talk about a guy who could conceivably play as many snaps as possible on offense and defense. I don't know what he wants to do. It sounds like he's open to doing everything. And also, by the way, kind of being an Ohtani type. I'm not going to compare him to Ohtani after what I did with Ward and Mahomes, but I'm sitting here thinking he should be able to play as many snaps as he wants on both sides of the ball. And to me, I want to see a GM and a coach sit down with him and say, this is how we're going to use you. He has to be comfortable. He should have a lot of say in this and maybe try to dictate where he goes.
Damien?
Yeah, listen, I think that it will be tough because of the positions that he plays. I think usually the one position we talk about that has that type of flex is quarterback, obviously. Here's what I will say about Travis Hunter and playing both ways. I absolutely agree that I think this young man should be given every opportunity to play both ways. We also have to think about the level of competition that this young man is going to see. I mean, think about it. When he plays cornerback, and I think, by the way, he could be a Hall of Fame cornerback in this league, like right out the gate. He could be that type of guy. But he's going to be facing Justin Jefferson. Okay, he's going to be facing Jamar Chase. All of these elite wide receivers right off the bat. That's going to be the expectation for him to match up there. And then to try to go out there and play a bunch of snaps at the wide receiver position, I just think I think he needs a transition when he first comes into the National Football League, because it's going to be a tall task to ask him, hey, shut down these premier wide receivers. And oh, by the way, go out here and play a bunch of snaps at the wide receiver position.
I know this is kind of earth-shattering, but I agree with Kevin on this. Like, we've reached a watershed
Is
moment.
that less of a hot take than his first one?
Yes.
Is his build hot take less of a hot take than his Mahomes?
I think it is because Travis Hunter is a unicorn.
Yep.
And why would you possibly try to coach out the unicorn, coach the unicorn out of him rather, and just say pick one of these and do this really, really well? Like, we haven't seen somebody play at this high of a level, both wide receiver and cornerback. And yes, I know he did it at the college level, but he did it at such a proficient rate that it won in the Heisman Trophy. So when he's going on all these pre-draft visits and going on top 30s and talking to teams, I hope that he's stressing, please let me play both sides of the ball. Now, obviously, you're going against a different caliber of athlete in the NFL. Playing 100-something snaps or whatever it is a game, that's not realistic. He won't be able to do it at as high of a clip as he did it at Colorado and at Jackson State. But my goodness, I hope that we don't only see him be one thing. I hope that he doesn't let a team put him in a box, and he'll probably be really good, whatever he comes out of that box as. But to say, oh, well, you can't be a wide receiver here because you're too busy locking them down as a shutdown corner, and we're worried about that. Like, yes, there's going to be injury concerns regardless. It's football. But to see him continue this path on, it's good for the game of football. The NFL would be thrilled to have a player like this in the modern era.
Let him test his limits. Let him see what he can do. He is more athletic and special than most NFL teams are smart, okay? And if his career is going to be at the mercy of a coordinator saying, actually, I think we should do this. No, we've never seen a guy like this on both sides of the ball. I wish, in the past there were more guys who tried this. I think Charles Woodson could have played a lot more receiver in the NFL. Like, I feel like there are unicorns who've been this athletic. It took a special situation with Colorado, with Jackson State, #1 overall recruit in the country. But to me, I really feel like you can let him test his limits and then let camp and let preseason and the early part of the season kind of dictate where he goes with his career.
I can't believe UM grad Kevin Clark somehow made Cam Ward into a disappointment before ever playing a game. Really remarkable. Damien Woody, thank you.
Are hurting Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, I think that it's helping Shedeur Sanders at this point. There are a lot of questions that we have about a bunch of different quarterbacks, and those questions normally aren't answered until you get in the league. But for Shedeur, I think we know that he doesn't have a problem with the spotlight. He doesn't have a problem with pressure, and he absolutely doesn't have a problem with confidence. And that's all because Deion is his father, in large part because Deion is his father, and he's been exposed to this for a long time. He's pointed out that he's gone to 2 separate programs, and the spotlight gets bigger bigger and bigger, and both of those programs got a lot better when he got there. So I think it's hard to think of a way how this hurts him. On top of all of that, his father understands the NFL and has relationships all over the league. So I think that there's nothing wrong with having an expert on your team like Deion Sanders.
Yeah, I'd like to hear your perspective, considering being in a front office guy. Does that help or hurt him?
Yeah, Brian, I agree with what Neek said. Here's my only concern. And again, I'm bullish on Shedeur Sanders. The grade of incomplete is when you hit a bump in the road, because part of your job description to be a quarterback in the NFL is mental toughness and resiliency. And I'm not saying that Shedeur doesn't have it, but he has to step away from an iconic dad, and he's going to have to deal with things, 3-game losing streaks, multiple interceptions a game, and still have the trust and confidence in his teammates, something that he's never had to deal with. And again, I'm not saying he can't, but that's something he's really never had to do on his own, and I think that's something teams will have to sort through in the next couple of weeks.
I want you guys to take a look at something here, because executives and scouts, coaches from around the NFL were talking to our Jeremy Fowler in this year's draft, and this is what one of them had to say. Quote, talking about Shedeur Sanders. If it was me, I couldn't do that, said the separate AFC executive on taking Sanders in the top 10. Not a great athlete, not big, not strong, undisciplined game, comes with scrutiny. Is he going to be good enough? One comp from an NFC personnel said, maybe he's Teddy Bridgewater, a fringe starter who makes good decisions, does some good things, but won't get you over the top, is what he said. Kevin, give me your reaction to this.
I don't like any of it, frankly. And the anonymous AFC executive, we don't know, because he's anonymous, whether he's building one of the AFC's best teams or he's a clown who makes mistakes all the time. So it's hard for me, and I err towards clown, by the way. It's hard for me to gauge this, but I don't like anonymous quotes that are negative. I just think that put your name on it. Mike T and I talked about this earlier. But for me, Teddy Bridgewater would not be a bad comp. Teddy Bridgewater coming into this league was not a fringe starter. I don't know what that NFC personnel guy was talking about. He was on the star track. He was on the franchise quarterback track until he got injured. So for me, he's a different type of prospect. He doesn't have the tools that a lot of top 10 quarterbacks have, but he's got accuracy, he's got touch, he's got toughness. He's a top 10 guy for me.
What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, Brian, I totally agree with Kevin. And as Shannon Sharpe would say, it's bull jive. Like, put your name on it. If you don't like a player, put your name on it. I hate anonymous criticism. This guy's a really good player, hard stop. He is going to be a good NFL quarterback. I've compared him to Kirk Cousins, who's had a really good career. And look, he may not have elite talent, but what Trevor Lawrence had elite talent coming out. How's that worked out? Anthony Richardson has had bumps in the road. Sometimes we get into this trait discussion that we used to talk about with corners, with quarterbacks. Give me a competent decision maker with a good arm, accuracy, touch, and dependability. That's Shedeur Sanders. He's going to go the first round. And by the way, guys, let's just remember this. The draft is the beginning of the story, not the end. Get to a good organization, get coached well, and have a great career.
An anonymous get-up panelist says it's bull jive.
Exactly. Nick, give me your take on that. Was the criticism fair, you think?
I mean, well, since we're channeling our coworkers, I would say that you need to put your fudging name on it, as Dan Orlovsky would say. I think that I do, however, like I understand the need, or at least the desire to have anonymity to get the report out. And honestly, like, it doesn't hurt that bad. Like, I think it's motivation, and I appreciate Jeremy Fowler's annual hater report. Like, I feel like every year around this time to draft, Jeremy Fowler gets some anonymous GMs to come out and start hating. It gives us something to talk about, and it gives some bulletin board material to all the players. But I suspect that the people who are making actual decisions don't see Shedeur Sanders like that, because it feels kind of outrageous.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. You know, this is a young man who turned around 2 programs, Jackson State, turned around Colorado. Do you think these QB needing teams are going to regret not going to get Shedeur Sanders?
If you don't have what